You're listening to a podcast from the Finnish Football Show. Yes, it's the Finnish Football Show. I'm Mark Wiltshire. Welcome for another episode of In Conversation With. And there's a big team here today. Normally this is a one-on-one situation, but I've got Ali Manson with me. Hi, Ali.
Moi.
Kekki Mullari. Hi, Kekki.
Terve.
But far more important than those two is our guest today, and the subject of this In Conversation is Abdirahman Sugulle. And Abdi, welcome.
Thank you, guys. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Abdi is a referee in the Finnish football pyramid, I suppose, if it's a pyramid, and I think you may be the first match official that we've had on here, Abdi. So thank you for joining us, and you're very welcome on the Finnish Football Show. Tell us first of all, outside of being a referee, what do you do?
I'm just a normal lad, as they would say. 27 years old, father of one daughter, almost 3 years old. Sales guy, and university student as well.
So you're studying and working, and a father and a referee.
Yeah. So
wow, you like a challenge.
Yeah.
A lot of challenges all at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, I used to study in uni like back in 2020, but then it wasn't that subject wasn't my thing, so I stopped it, and now turning new page. So we will see what this new journey will have on board.
So tell us a little bit, first of all, about your background. Where did you grow up?
I grew up like literally in the same neighborhood I'm doing this recording from. So in Espoo,
okay.
A neighborhood called Suvela, Espoon Keskus. I don't know how they say in English, but in Finland they say lähiö. So it's
suburb.
Yeah, suburb. Yeah. Suburb that was built in 70s. My parents came here in the early 90s from Somalia. So originally my parents come from there, but I was born and raised here in the same neighborhood as my daughter is born and raised. So as
nice.
Finns would say, paljasjalkainen espoolainen.
So you're staying very close to your roots down there in Espoo. Exactly. And actually, I think we've discussed sometimes about how crowds at Honka and watching football in Espoo are not always great, and people have said that that's because nobody is from Espoo, and I think you've just proven that completely wrong.
Yeah. That's how they usually say that everybody moves from somewhere else to Espoo. Okay, Espoo is a big city and it has a lot of suburbs, but yeah, like the area where I live, it's I think a lot of us that who lives here are from here. Other people, they come and go because they can't get used to this neighborhood, but I like it here.
And so that's, for the listener, that's the same area that Glenn Kamara grew up in as well.
I think it's just like 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers away. I think he was from Espoolahti Olari area, and it's very close area.
I love it because you're talking about Espoo the way that me, Keke, and Ali would talk about London. It's like it's not one place; it's this collection of villages and suburbs that have all kind of grown together.
Exactly. Yes.
So, how long have you been a referee?
I was just counting before this episode just to make sure. I started 2013. So this is my 12th season, I think, or 13th season that's just going on. But yeah, approximately 11 years I've been a referee now.
Football clearly is important to you because nobody would get into refereeing. But tell me a little bit about that, how you got into football in the first place.
It's actually very interesting. So I never used to play a football in a team. So football was a thing, like I think in many suburbs, neighborhoods, kids all around time, all around the clock, they just kick some football in the streets and the school playgrounds and so on. But I used to do another hobbies. I used to play basketball, floorball, and then the longest period I used to do taekwondo. So I have a background in martial arts. But then I remember when I was like 14-ish, 15, I started like getting interested into playing football in a team because all my classmates, schoolmates were playing football, or a lot of them. So I tried a little bit. I was about to try, but then I thought that starting in a team now is completely different than uh, playing on the streets. In my opinion, I was skillful on the streets and I could beat the guys who were playing in the football teams their whole life. But then if was getting into a team, I think I wouldn't play with them. I would play in a second or third team. So one of my friends who actually played football in a pretty good level, he was starting pelin ohjaajakurssi. So I went on with him to the course and just got carried away.
Got carried away and started to learn to be a referee.
Yeah, starting to like it. It sounds quite mad, but I got a lot of compliments. Like before I got into refereeing course, I was doing the pelin ohjai. So I think you guys know what's pelin ohjai. They put the green bib on you that says fair play, and you're not even refereeing. You're just telling the kids, 9 year old, 8 years old, 7 years old, hey, it's your ball. Kick. I think they don't even have throw-ins. They need to kick from the sidelines. So here's your ball, kick it to that side and stuff like that. So I was naturally pretty good with the kids because I come from a big family and so on. So I got a lot of good compliments from the spectators, from the parents, and from the coaches, which is not even quite normal, I would guess. And yeah.
How did you cope with the parents on the sideline? Did that ever get kind of um, overly enthusiastic with their kids playing?
No, no, I don't have. I think I have only one memory from that. So actually, when I then started refereeing, like when I turned 15 and you can go to referee course, I started refereeing on my first like test match. I remember the coach got pretty loud and he used some ugly words because in his opinion I couldn't get an offside decision right. I'm in my first match. It's almost a big field. It's I think 8v8 and they have the offside, the middle, like the kids, they have the penalty area offside, and then they have the like keskirajapaitsio, the middle ground offside, and so on. So they had the big offside, and then I couldn't get it right, and he started cussing at me and getting very vocal. And then automatically, I don't know how I did that, but I gave him a red card. And back then, 2013, you couldn't even do that. So that rule came a couple years back. So I gave him a red card and just left. And the match was, I think there were 13 years old girls. So the coaches couple of times got pretty noisy and she started shouting at me. But then I don't know where that comes from. I could always cope with that. I could go to them and tell them, hey, you need to go out. I don't know where that bravery comes from, but or I think it's now. Back then, I didn't look at it that I'm a brave, but now hearing and reading a lot of stories from the grassroots level, I think that was quite brave from a 15, 16-year old kid back then. But with the parents, I never had the problem. I don't know. I think only one time in Hesa Cup one parent got pretty loud, but then we had orange cards that we could give to the parents, and it was quite. I think it was a fair play card that was orange, and it had a text written onto it. So I just went to the parent and gave it to uh, his hand, and they could just be quiet and read the text. So the text was among the lines that I'm just an spectator. I'm a parent. I should support my kids and so on.
Oh, that's a brilliant tool for calming down parents because we all want to be setting the right example for our kids, and sometimes you just get a bit carried away in the heat of the moment, I guess.
Exactly. And now they have, I think, fair play support personnel who started now at the grassroots level. So they have the young referees. They have always one person who's there to support them and so on. So I think that started this year, and it's quite good, a good innovation.
So that was your first year as a referee.
Yeah.
What's the pathway been from a 15-year-old brandishing his first red card all the way
Yeah.
through to where you are now? What's the pathway been, and what level are you at now?
Right now, I'm at. I just made my debut in Ykkösliiga last Friday in the
Oh,
match.
congratulations! Well done.
Thank you very much. So yeah, after that match, I started thinking just like the question that you asked, but the pathway has been very long. It's like this is my, as I said, 11th season right now, and I started back in 2013. Just the couple first years go past very quickly, collecting some pocket money, being more excited about the pocket money that you're earning at that age. But then you start to climb up the ladder. So you started getting your first men's game. I think now they have seventh division, but back then they had in Espoo or Ultima area they have only sixth division. So you start getting into men's games, sixth division, start being an assistant referee in men's fifth division, and you just climb up the ladder like that. When you get good at assisting men's fifth, and you get experience from refereeing the sixth division, you get refereeing fifth division and assistant at the fourth, and all the way to the third division. And when I started before actually I started refereeing third division, I just started as assistant referee in men's second division, and then I before that I even knew that I want to pursue as a referee, as a head referee. But then my feelings got even stronger because I couldn't focus on the offside line. I was just focusing on listening to the referee, how he is communicating with the players, how is he communicating with us and stuff like that. And then I got to hear a lot about, hey, just follow the from the match observer, follow the offside line. But I got carried away. So when I got to ref the third division, it was clear for me that I'm gonna pursue this, and I think I made my debut in third division to 2017-18, and back then in Ultima area, Espoo, we didn't have any academies, referee academies. I think in Helsinki they started around those times. They started referee academies, and we can see the results of those academies right now in the Liga.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of guys right now are refereeing in the Veikkausliiga are from those academies, but then we got lucky when 2020 the they renewed Paloliitto system. They made these four regional areas, so we started having our own academy at Eteläinen Alue, southern region. And I remember it was 2020, refereeing a couple of seasons in men's third division, and we my mentor was Mohammed Al Emara. He was my mentor back then, and Payman Simani as well was along one of the coaches. So when those guys starting the referee academy year, they had a presentation about their career and so on. So then I remember a light bulb hitting like inside my head that yeah, I'm gonna pursue this, and I need to, like, when they say representation matters, I think it was one of those moments that I saw these guys making it. So I have a chance to make it as well. So yeah, the story, to sum it up, it was quite like that.
I find it really interesting that you get the chance to referee in one division and then be assistant in the division above, and you get that sort of experience that you can then maybe take back into your own games you're refereeing, and also keeping an eye on the assistant referee to make sure he's watching the offsides as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I
What do you get out of refereeing? Like, why do you do it? Some people would say it's a thankless task, but clearly you get a buzz out of it. What does it give to you?
honestly, back in the days, I don't know what was running in my head. I think the dollar sign or the euro signs, but nowadays I don't do this hobby for money. I could be making much more money somewhere else if I put the same effort in. But I think I don't know what's the word in English. My bad for all the viewers. But they say in Finland, they call it in Finnish henkireikä. So I think it gives me 90 minutes or 90 plus minutes of uninterrupted focus time to just do my thing, to just, it's just crazy. It's like, especially in this world and age right now, before I started this session, I had to put my phones on airplane mode and do not disturb and so on. But rest of the day, you don't get those moments. So I think that's main thing. Of course, I love football. There is a passion for football. I come from a home that's been always football on the telly. My father follows football, and my uncles and so on, and my brothers are quite football fanatics as well. So I think that focus thing, and then the love for football, and right now I have the chance to be with the football on a level that I couldn't get as a player, I think.
You say your family love football. What team or teams did you grow up being sort of surrounded by?
Yeah, so I grew up in a El Clasico family. So my father and uncles and everybody, they love Real Madrid, and my younger brothers, they love Barcelona. So I come from El Clasico family.
That's good, because you're talking to the three guys from the London area here, so you managed to keep on side with all of us. You didn't offend any of us with that answer.
Very, very good to hear, guys. What football teams you support from like for outside of Finland?
Yeah, well, Ali, actually, you're a born and bred Londoner. Who do you support?
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I'm a Man United fan. Suffering still from yesterday, but yeah.
Oh dear.
I was about to say my condolences, but this does not mean that I have anything against Manchester United. Just in case one day I will be officiating their match.
That's
so,
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep this part in.
Ali is a Man United fan and a Oulu-Inter fan, so we get to sort of have a little dig at him quite regularly and quite shamelessly. Whereas Keke, on the other hand,
Yep, I support West Ham United in London. Yeah, spent many years going to see them play. And my team in Finland is JJK Jyväskylä, who currently, yeah, punching below their weight. They should be a lot higher up the divisions, but yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah. Jyväskylä had some great times in Finnish football history, so I think they will be back.
It's coming again.
And I have a list of teams that I follow, because I'm a Wimbledon fan. That's my number one team. But when I was a kid, my dad would take me to watch Fulham play, and then if they were playing away, then we go to watch Wimbledon. So for me, I've always gone to watch both teams. And then since moving to Finland, I'm in Seinäjoki, so I follow SJK. I'm there in the Kloppid with the SJK fans. And then because doing this podcast, I've become much more interested in the Finnish national team as well. Keke travels away with the Hulkijat quite a lot. So in order of preference, Wimbledon, SJK, Hulkijat, Fulham, England.
Very nice list.
Not many winners there.
Well, you're not a glory hunter, so that's a lot about you.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly right.
But Abdi, that's an interesting question. You asked us which teams we support, and obviously we all do this because we love football. We love Finnish football, but it always used to puzzle me whenever I was watching football as a young boy in England. You used to buy your match day program, and when you turn to the back cover, it would say today's referee, and it would have his name, and then it would give you where he was from, and it was always somewhere I'd never heard of, because they were so worried that you would spot that the referee had some local connection to one of the teams. They always tried to pick like an obscure county or something like that. So I mean, how does that work out for you? Do you have to, like, are you completely impartial? You can't have a favorite team. How does it work for a referee in Finland?
Yeah, so I think like in Finland, luckily we don't have that problem that if a referee is from certain city, he cannot referee in that city. So that's just a myth here in Finland. I think this year there's been quite some noise about, I think from some teams that there was a certain game played in Oulu against Ilves, and the referees or some of the referees came from Tampere. So I think our referee, head of referee coaching, tackled that quite easily. He said that there is no problem in that in Finnish football, and I think in anywhere it shouldn't be a problem, because as a referee who is doing his job with a good dignity, you cannot be biased or you're just doing your best there.
Yeah.
But I think in referees, how I think every referee has been a kid or a young lad at some point who didn't know that he's gonna make in his refereeing career and has been a passionate about some team. But I think it's advice that you shouldn't be quite vocal about which
Yeah,
team you you were a fan of, like
indeed.
back in the days. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Abdi, let's move on to the let's say the only negative thing we're going to talk about today, but it's quite a big one. You posted a very strong LinkedIn message a month or so ago, which caught my eye. Do you want to explain the message and like what happened on the pitch to inspire that message?
Yeah, so actually I was just fed up on what happened on the pitch, and there were no actions like or active actions happening against it. So just as a backstory, so this post was made, I think, in July, early July, or yeah. So it was after a game of Miesten Ykkönen. So I'm right now currently my rank is I'm a category 3 referee, so my level is Miesten Kakkonen, but I made on May, by the end of the May, I made my debut in Miesten Ykkönen, and he went quite well. So I got my second game, and my second game was PKKU against Atlantis.
Was this as an assistant or actually as referee?
As a referee,
Right,
as a
okay.
referee,
Yeah.
yeah, as a referee. So I don't do any more like when you are up from men's third division, when you get as a referee into men's second, that's gonna be your main focus. You're just gonna be as a fourth referee in Veikkausliiga games. But right now, I'm just a referee. So I was in that game, and the game was quite toxic. The players were nagging at each other. I think it was quite toxic environment, but the game went well, and there was quite some altercations with the benches and players and so on. But the game was at the end of the day quite clean. Just a couple of yellow cards, one red card to the benches, and so on. And after the game, I was analyzing my match. So after the game, we analyze our matches. We make some clips. In our level, we make our own clips. But in Veikkausliiga, Ykkösliiga, we have a system that makes all the clips. And I was just analyzing the game. So it's quite not funny, but the first time I was analyzing the match, I was listening with my recording. So I record myself in games in order to see my communication with the players. What should I avoid next time? What should I use? What should I keep using? And so on. But the second time I was watching the match, I was preparing to my third Miesten Ykkönen match, and I watched it without my or I listened without my recording, so I could hear what the spectators were saying and so on. And I was just watching the match. I whistled a free kick. In my opinion, it was a right free kick, and it was just in front of the benches. And the coach got carried away and started shouting at me. So I was telling the coach behave and so on. And all of a sudden, some spectator used the N word. There was nothing in that. So basically, he said the N word. Siinä ei ollut yhtään mitään. And I'm right now in my balcony, having a sip of coffee, analyzing my game, preparing to my next game, and it was quite a surreal moment. So the first reaction was, wait, how did we miss this during the game? So as you all know, we have the three-step procedure
Yep.
against discrimination, and just before the match, we went through with the managers. So my assistant referee didn't hear it, another assistant referee didn't hear it, any of the players didn't hear it, and it was quite, you could hear it was quite vocal. So I was in quite shock. Just started thinking, what should I do? And prior to this, I already had two altercations from previous year. So last year, August and September, I had two, or it was, I think, July and August, I had two altercations. And they came, actually, I had a match in Porvo, and then I had one match in between, and the match after it, I had two race altercations. So this was the third time, and I remember the earlier times, almost nothing happened about it. So I started to think, what should I do? And as we all know, is quite sad, but I had to go out there into the world and share my experience, and it got quite a lot of views and impressions. So I think in LinkedIn the post got almost 500,000 impressions,
Wow.
which is quite crazy. But then at the same time, I think it's quite nice to see that it got that many impressions, and it just shows that how big of the problem we have right now in Finnish football, I would say.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Do you think this is a problem in Finnish football, or is it a football problem in Finnish society, or is it an international problem?
Very, very good question. So if I would break, you asked me three questions
Yeah.
in one. So I think it's a Finnish society problem, a big one, as we can see. Just last week, the Finnish government launched a campaign against racism, and
Well,
one of the
some parts
parties.
of the government did.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, I was just coming onto it.
Sorry.
So yeah, no problem. So yeah, some part, like I think that their idea was, or Orpo's idea was, that the whole of the government is launching this campaign, but to his surprise, none of us. It wasn't a surprise to us, but to his surprise, some of the party, or some of the people in the government didn't agree with this. So we can see that is a societal problem right now. And I think a football ground is the whole of the Finnish society put into one field. So that's about it. So if we have a problem in the Finnish society, the same problem follows into the Finnish football. And you ask if this is an international problem, we can see that it is an international problem as well, because FIFA just launched, I think 2 or 3 days ago, an addition to the three-step procedure into anti-discrimination. So the new addition is that they will add an X sign for referees to make when, or the players, when they hear or see an anti-discrimination shouts or behavior on the field. So now some people might know about the three-step procedure, but now they will add this sign to it, so people will see it as well. So now this is
What do
something
you
that,
do then? What is this sign? I didn't see this, so this is
yeah,
breaking news for me.
I just saw it from, I think, from Twitter or X. So it's just an X sign,
Okay.
encouraged for the referees to make after they blow the whistle. And this is just launched a couple of days ago, and they will test it in women's under 20 World Cup in Colombia. I think it's going to be held there, so it's going to be tested there. And then FIFA also recommends all their member associations to take this on board. So it's to sum it up, your question, I think this is a international problem, Finnish society problem, and Finnish football problem. And I hear quite a lot people saying no, it's not even that big of a problem. Back in the days, we had this problem much bigger, and so on and so on. And to all of those people, I just want to say, wake up. Back in the days was back in the days, and it was quite normal then. But if we come fast forward 20 plus years or 10 plus years, the world has changed quite hectically, quite fast. So shouldn't we as a society, as a sport, be updated with that change as well?
I'm going to shut up for a few minutes anyway. I'm sure that Ali and Keke have got some questions, and also Mark Hayton's joined us. Hi, Mark.
Hello. Sorry, I was late.
That's okay. You need to listen back because there's some interesting stories about what Abdi got up to in his first ever game as a referee, but we'll let you discover that in the pod. Ali, did you have something you want to ask?
Yeah, I did. I mean, the question that I have is, how hard or easy do you find to give teams like a clean slate at the beginning of every game? Because of course you've just spoken about, you know, some really terrible experiences that you've had refereeing. How can you in the next game, say if you're having to referee this team again, how do you not go into that with some kind of, I don't know, like anger or like particular players as well, you maybe rub you up the wrong way? How easy or how hard is that to do?
They're very easy because I wanna get a clean sheet after that match too from my referee observer. So I'm a pretty selfish person. Uh, so like I'm not selfish usually, but I'm a pretty selfish referee. So thinking about my possible career, so it's quite easy for me. So every game you get a new chance. Of course, I'm alerted. I'm alerted that if I go into that certain game again, maybe the guy who shouted at the previous match because he didn't get a ban because there is a loophole in Finnish law that they can't do that, and so on and so on. That same person might be on the field. He might shout the same thing again. The same guy on the field that I gave a yellow card last game from running his mouth, he's in that field again. The same coach. So very easy, very easy. So we are quite alerted. We talk about this with our colleagues. Hey, you had this and that game. Were there, which kind of players did you had any problem with? How did they play and so on? But when I go to that game, I'm alerted, but I'm giving a new chance to that.
Right. And the other question I had is sort of more from your point of view as a football fan when you're in the middle of the pitch. Is there ever a time where you're watching players and you think, oh, that was awful, or equally, oh, that was amazing?
Yeah, all the time. So sometimes you see a goal. I'm not a Mike Dean. I'm not gonna celebrate, or he didn't even celebrate the goals. But I think he more celebrated his own advantage that led into the goal. But sometimes you see quite amazing skills and goals, and I tell the players straight, it is even recommended if it suits your personality to comment and give a compliment to the player. Wow, what a nice shot, or a sarcastic, that was your first time doing it, or so on. But and sometimes you see some awful things, and you're seeing a clear pass, and you're thinking, why is he not seeing that? But then at the same time, the player is analyzing a bunch of other stuff, and your main focus is just to run into the next spot while there is no any contact coming. So yeah.
Great. Cool.
I've got a couple of questions, Abdi. You know, you mentioned there that the football field, and we've had this in England as well. You know, the football field and the football spectating public is a microcosm of society, really. You get all walks of life in that stadium, and if you get, you know, we're going to call them out, if you get racists in the football stadium, that means racists exist in society, which is a terrible shame, a travesty, and something that, and like you say, in this day and age, shouldn't be happening. But my point to you is, if we can in football, Finnish football, if we can self-police our own crowds, if somebody hears this nonsense coming from someone's mouth, and the guy next to him or a couple of rows down from him will spin round and say to him, listen, that's not damn well acceptable here. Maybe that the attitude of that not being acceptable can come out from the football ground into the wider society. Is that a point that you accept, Abdi?
Of course, 100%, KK. I agree with that. And as wow, what a words you used. English is your mother tongue. He said microsum of society. I was talking about summing up all the society into one field, but yeah, I 100% I agree with you with your point. So as you said, unfortunately, I don't think it suits our Finnish personality quite well to shout the person next to you, but I think what a pressure it would give to that one idiot who is thinking about shouting some racist slurs or shout racist slurs. I think if somebody actively judged that, told him you can't do that, what you're thinking of, I don't think that person even would dare to come to that match again. Even he would lose his face right then and there. But when you get that silent accept, or I wouldn't say silent acceptance, it's quite harsh, because there is a lot of people who doesn't or who don't accept that kind of behavior, but maybe they're just afraid of the situation. They don't know how to react. It's quite crazy situation. You seeing somebody doing something like that, you're so surprised. So there might be a lot of reasons, and I'm giving all of those benefit or doubts to that person. So it's not even his job, but it would be quite brave of him or her to do that. And I think the football society, the football teams, the organizations, and so on, they could guide and coach in these situations, have more than just procedures and silent, just lip of word campaigns and so on, to have stories, videos. Like, this is something that hurts people, you know, as you could see Alemar's post match interview. Like, yeah. I got chills, to be honest. I watched after the match, and we talked after the match, because I exactly knew what he went through. Like, and for him, it's not even first time. It was unfortunate first time on a football field, but he has quite a long history of dealing racism as a refugee here in Finland, and I was born here, born and raised here, and still you have to face something like that reminds you all of the time that you're not part of this society is just crazy. And I'm proud of my roots. I'm proud Somali. I'm proud of my roots. I don't need anybody else's acceptance. I know who I am. I know where I come from, but I'm still a human being, and these words, they do hurt people. And coming back to your question, I think, yeah, if we had more people doing, as you said, judging it, calling it a day right then and there, I think we would be in a lot better place.
Keke, on that point, this you mentioned Abdi Mohammed Alemara, and when that situation came up a couple of weeks ago, there was some chat within the ASIC or Clopit WhatsApp group, and a couple of people remembered a couple of different incidents where things were shouted over 10 years ago, before we moved to the new stadium, and that the fans did actually turn around, point this person out, and like get them removed from the ground, which I think 10 years ago is quite impressive. And I remember one time where somebody shouted out something, and And friend of the show, Julian, turned around and just said, no, like you can't say that. Now, he's not shy of sort of standing up for what he thinks is right. So, you know, everyone can do it. And yeah, I'm sorry you had to experience all of that, Abdi. From, you know, it's why we wanted to give you a chance to talk about it today, to make everyone else sort of understand how it feels. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to connect the comment that you've got about Julian and some of the reactions that we might have had, like us, and then some of the comments that you said, Abdi, about like, you know, if the clubs did a bit more, if the Balolita did a bit more, if there were some campaigns, because, you know, with an English background, the FA, it's not perfect, but it has had quite a concerted effort to try and raise awareness and change behaviors. At the same time, in places like Spain, you know, Vinny Jr.'s is at loggerheads with La Liga because they won't take any action, and he's threatening to take teams off the pitch. How do you think, or how do you feel like working with the Palolito is going? Like, do they take it seriously enough? Also, if it has been covered before I got here with my kids, then just we can skip it or cut it. But do you think the Palolito listens to these kind of reports? Do you think it takes them seriously? Do you think it thinks about fixing it?
To be honest, I have. It's quite sad to say that I have no idea. So I know the refereeing department got my back.
Yeah.
They're doing their everything to arrange meetings, how we could deal with these and so on. But I think this is a bigger question. It's not just a refereeing. Like right now, yeah, it's affecting us referees because there is quite a change happening in the men's league and in women's league as well. We have, if you look at the referee, like if you look at the diversity of the referees nowadays, it quite represents what it is in the grassroots levels as well, because in the grassroots levels I think there is more minority backgrounded referees than Finnish backgrounded referees, and that's a societal question, or there is a lot of reasons why that is happening. But I think that's mirroring right now. I don't even know if that's English, but in Finnish they say that's mirroring it into the men's and women's league as well. So I think there should be a bigger work done towards this by the FA. But right now, unfortunately, Mark, I can't give you an answer what's happening there. I just know that my first incident in Porvoo last year, I have no idea what happened after that. Any procedures taken? I didn't have any. I made, of course, the report, but I didn't get anything back. The second incident, the home team, who did their everything, they did the procedure and everything, but then the safety personnel wasn't quite right about the whole racing situation. They were just putting it down and saying, yeah, it was just a little racist incident just happened. I was like, how it can be a little if it was racist incident? And apparently the guy was shouting some crazy things. He was quoting Hitler, basically. He was quoting Nazis and making the Nazi symbol and so on. And I remember that happened halftime. So I've been lucky in all of these incidents that I didn't hear it straight, because I have no idea how would that affect me. So the first incident, a player, a away team player heard what the home fan shouted, and the player was also, he had a minority background. So if you could have seen his face, he was shocked. He came running towards me. Hey ref, how can he say that? How can he say that? How can he shout something like that? I was what he said, and then he told me what he said. And then the second incident, the safety personnel, Valve, came and told me what happened, and he was putting it down. And then when he told me about these Nazi things, and he said we threw the person out after the game, the home team won, and they were celebrating in front of their fans. And I was walking. I still have a video that was in social media that they were basically filming it, their celebrations, but I'm walking there, and I remember exactly what were my thoughts. I was just thinking, okay, I see a couple of security guards here, but what if somebody throws something at me?
Yeah.
What if he thinks just because I smiled when the second half was starting that they didn't hurt me enough? What's the next thing? So that I was quite scared, to be honest. And now this third incident happened, and it makes you think that is it just gonna be words? What's gonna be next thing happening? So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember anymore what was the question, but now I got carried away. Yeah.
It was about like is something the ballot is in charge of, or like the referees association you said has got your back, but if you want to make a change, like it takes concerted effort. Like Keke was talking about getting the fans to police themselves. I mean, we all probably come from sort of like 80s English football, right? So I've sat in the stand. I was a lot younger, but I've sat in the stands as a kid when bad stuff has been happening, and you just, in the way football was in the 80s in England, you just couldn't say anything because you were scared that if you did say something, it would turn to you and you would be victimized, which is why I mentioned the FA's efforts, because not perfect, but it changed the way that men in the stands felt about their responsibility on a match day. And it actually allowed a lot of conversations. It really it didn't do anything particular, but it opened up the possibility for us to talk. And I think that's the thing that's missing now, right? Like because if they don't do anything, then you're right. It's words today. Who knows what it is next time?
Yeah, exactly. And now when you mentioned FA, I remembered your original question. So yeah, the first incident, nothing happened. The second incident, 100 euros penalty fee to the home team. Third incident, I think was it 500. And I was surprised about, so how it goes is when I heard the match recording, I made a report, and then they will ask, and basically they call it in Finnish vastine. So they will ask a vastine from the team being accused of this stuff. They didn't respond in any way, and basically I don't know how to interpret that, but yeah, so they got 500 euros penalty fee, and the maximum amount is 700. So I don't even think why they didn't get the maximum amount. So these things make you just consider. So I was just shocked. So they're just euros. Okay, I think in Finnish football there is not that much money involved in the lower league. So it's quite a big amount of money, and I'm not saying that if they would get 700 euros penalty fee, that would give me my rights back. But yeah, that's the procedures being taken right now. Get your fans, or let your fans shout some racist slurs, and you'll just pay it out.
I mean, Abdi, you mentioned at the top of the show, and I want to try and somehow spin this round and make the chat a bit more positive. You told us, as you were telling us about your career, and the path that you've followed, that you're looking to go to the top. You want to be refereeing in the top league in Finland, and who knows what your hopes and dreams are before then. Do you? You obviously that is your mission for your own personality. You've set your sights on that, and that's the achievement that you want to achieve for yourself. But after these incidents, is there something added to that, where you, as a person from a minority background, or from an immigrant background, can show that people like yourself do exist in this society and can make it to the very top of their game, and I don't know, somehow by doing that educate some of these idiots that it's people are out there doing the best they can for Finnish football. And I know my point is a little bit skewed, but I hope you're getting some of what I'm trying to say.
No, Keke, thank you for changing it to the positive side. So even though it's important to talk about the negative ones as well, but yeah, 100%, I got your point. So right now, as I told you, we have a lot of minority background people and referees in women's and men's both in the leagues. But I think, or I don't think, I know it's a fact that right now on Friday I was to make debut in second highest level on Finnish football, and I have the same
Congratulations for
goal.
that as well. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Yeah, you're the first one who's No, actually, one of my friend who is also has Somali background, who is refereeing with me on the men's second division. He came actually. The match was in Järvenpää. He came from Helsinki to Järvenpää just support me because I was making history. So he was the only person alongside my family to congratulate me on that. But
That's
that was
pretty amazing that the referee had a supporter in the stadium as well.
yeah. Isn't that? Yeah. So I had my whole family watching. My wife came, even my daughter came for the first time.
That's nice.
So actually, I have right now. I changed today my wallpaper on my phone. It's a post match, me and my daughter running on the field. So it was quite amazing moment. But yeah, so my next goal is clear as well. So to make my debut on Veikkausliiga as well as soon as I can, but no hurry and no rush. I think the more you gain experience, the more it will help you then on the top level as well. So one game at a time, and hopefully I can inspire a lot of younger referees who has minority background. As I told you, right now the current guys who are on the top level inspired me. So Al Emara, Simani, and all the other guys as well. But those guys specifically because they come almost from the same background. So when I saw them making it, I was like, okay, you can make it too. So before that, I was just doing it, no vision, just doing it one game at a time. But now I have a clear vision, so I hope that I can give that same hope and basically representation, as they say, representation matters. So I hope that I can be as they were for me. So I hope that I can be the same for the coming generation.
And when you do make your Veikkausliiga debut, let us know that it's coming, and we will make a big fuss about it. And if it's near one of us, we'll do our best to get down there, and you'll have two supporters in the crowd.
Yeah.
Two supporters.
Referee ultras.
I will. No, thank you guys. Thank you so much, Mark and all of you guys. But yeah, just let me know beforehand that you're coming, so I can give you the same color shirt I'm wearing. So you can be the target instead of me during the match.
You want a few decoys walking around the ground in the same shirt as you. Take the heat away. I had
Abdi,
one. Go on,
sorry.
sorry.
I just wanted to say, Abdi, we've mentioned the nasty side, and abuse for anything is not acceptable. We get that, but there is also the sort of the referee is sometimes a victim of some light-hearted chatter, shall we say? How do you cope with that? Referees, it's like Mark said at the beginning, it's sometimes called the thankless task, but as everybody should know, without you in the middle, the game doesn't happen, does it? So you are a required fixture. But yeah, how do you cope with some of the more light-hearted sort of bits and bobs that may come your way?
I actually love those. So I'm flattered that somebody else is watching me. Somebody else other than just the referee observer on the stands. So it's actually quite funny, and I don't know if something is wrong with my head, but when you hear, for example, I was in Myllykoski in Mypa against Grifk in Grankula IFK on I think it was back in the summer. So and there were like 700, 800 spectators, a lot in that level. So you can hear all the drums going and some light shouts or some light things thrown at you. So I was just laughing and communicating with my assistant referee, said that with the communication said that, did you hear that, guys? And then sometimes it's the same things, the same funny things, but sometimes they are quite good at it. Like, so they're like they use their imagination with it. So I actually love those.
Anything you can share?
Not actually anything. I don't recall any specific right now.
Okay.
Like there's a lot running in my mind, but they I think one of the things they shout sometimes is "tuamari" on "uamari." So it's translated. I think you get, guys. So the referee is a drunkhead or something like that, and it's quite funny because I don't even do that. So, so it becomes even funnier, and they are the one who are shouting from beer stands from Kaliakanto.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, yeah.
I'm glad we managed to turn it around at the end into something positive. Abdi, we've been talking to you for nearly an hour, which is unbelievable. It's been like fascinating to hear.
Yeah.
And thank you for sort of sharing the positive and the fun side of being a referee, as well as the issues that you've experienced with racism. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me. It was really my pleasure to talk with you guys, and I hope that I accomplished one goal today. So if one of you takes refereeing course next year, this was quite good visit.
I think there's one of us here that's probably just about young enough to do that, but Ali is a bit too busy scoring goals in Vitanen division every week at the moment. So give him a couple of years, and maybe he'll switch across.
Yeah, I maybe have one good year left in me, so give it a year.
No, one more year, Ali, and Mark, to turn it back to you. We have a refereeing problem in Seinäjoki, or we had it back in April. So I think you're the guy who's missing from the field.
What was the problem?
So
There isn't
not enough
Okay.
referees.
Right. Okay.
So they have to travel referees from Vaasa and different regions from Pohjanmaa to cover games in Seinäjoki.
I tell you what, all you need to do is put it in the local newspaper that referees are being
All
brought
the
in from
referees are
Vaasa.
coming from Vaasa.
And you'll be flooded with them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up there. Abdirahman Sugulle, thank you so much for joining us, and you are now officially a friend of the show, and I hope we can keep in touch with you in the future, and one day we'll have our own Veikkausliiga referee to support. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you guys very much. My pleasure. Thank you.
Kiitos, Abdi.
Thanks, buddy.
And listener, until the next episode of the Finnish Football Show, thanks for listening and goodbye. You've been listening to the Finnish Football Show. You can find us online at finishfootballshow.com. Remember to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening or watching. You can follow the Finnish Football Show page and group on Facebook and also on Instagram. Escape to Suomi on Twitter is now Finnish Football Show on X. And you will find us on Blue Sky at Finnish Football Pod. See the links in the episode description, along with the links to the Finnish Football Show merch stores.